Hello, hello, hello. I realized that we're doing a part two of a live that I was just working on, and suddenly it froze up on everybody. So I wanted to come back and finish what we were talking about because I promised everybody that I would do a live Q&A. And so right now I don't have anybody in the room, so I'm going to do a little teaching to talk about what exactly I was talking about in the previous one. I just thank you for everybody for coming back and showing back up. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened. I'm convinced when the feed freezes like that, because I've had people come and check my internet feed, is that we're going through a shift, that we're entering into the quantum realm and it affects the Wi-Fi. So I'm convinced that that's what's going on. So for all the people that are just listening to this video that didn't listen to the first one, I was sharing my experiences of the event, how powerful it was to meet many of the soul family that came, and the people that have shared the channel. And it was really an amazing opportunity to meet all these people. And it changed my life forever. And we're excited about future events that we're doing. I have a link for our next event, which is on February 27th through March 1st at Newark near the Big Apple. And so you can get tickets there. They're still available. And we're right now they're at the early bird price. And in the previous live session, I did a meditation on opening to power. And we really focused on the fact that you have unlimited power within you, this creative intelligence that beats your heart, that breathes you, and opening up to this power and allowing it to come through you and to create the world around you. And that was the intention of my meditation in that first session. And it was really an amazing opportunity from this event to get an experience to do these live meditations. So I really enjoy setting up these incredible live meditations. So I'm going to try to do more for YouTube Live so that we can access this live meditational power, especially on days when I do my sleep meditation at night. And so I was talking a little bit about my music, and you guys had asked some questions. Just to reiterate once again, the event was great, and this experience that we had was so profound and transformational. Get a chance if you can watch that, where I talk more about that. Hello, thank you for coming back, everyone. Sorry about all the technical problems that we had, and still good to talk to everyone here. And so I wanted to answer a few more questions while you had me. So, Mahesh, if we are manifesting a specific person, are we imposing ourselves on them against their free will? The truth of that is that we are all, anytime that we manifest anything related to any other self, we are all one infinite self. So you're imposing yourself on some level. But what I have found is that when you open yourself up to the abundance of different people that are available to you on a romantic and loving level, that focusing on a specific person is really focusing on the how of manifestation. And that is, if you open yourself up and let the universe show you where you can find your love, that you will find the most magnificent love that you can imagine. But having a specific person has an underlying assumption that there is a limited number of people available for you to find love. Yes, you can manifest your specific person. And yes, it can be absolutely a legitimate, authentic, proper, and correct thing to do if they have love for you. But you can't force someone to love you. You can present yourself as a loving person. And so I've had coaching clients that have really focused on that specific person. I had one in particular that, had just fallen for a barista. She struggled with it. She tried things. First of all, if you have oh my gosh, it's frozen again. All right, we back. I was worried there. So first of all, if you are manifesting a specific person in particular, understand the nature of what you're doing. You're trying to manifest the experience of being with someone else in your environment. And so if they're open up for it, and there are people that are absolutely are, then it works magnificently. And you can meet people in the exact vibration that you want. But the idea I want you to come away with is, if you think that there's only one person that can provide you that love, that's limited thinking, that there are infinite numbers of different people that can provide you the same love that you're looking for with that infinite person. And so I was sharing that I had a coaching client that was obsessed with the barista, and they struggled and did everything they could. One of the first things I'd recommend if you want to manifest a specific person is go up and ask them, A lot of times people come to me, and when I ask, "Did you ask them out?" What did they say? They haven't even gotten to that point. So for you, in order to date that person that is a specific person in your life, at least on the first step, go and ask them out. If you haven't got to that, then come back to me. And if you've already asked them out and it doesn't feel like it's going to work out, then there has to be a way for you to let them go in order to manifest them. Because the most successful people I have found, they're able to say, that's okay, I don't need to be with them, there are infinite others. And the moment they let them go from that deep craving, longing, is the moment that person came into their life. And so it's a very difficult thing to manifest a specific person. It's sort of like a very advanced form of meditation. And a lot of people that come to me, I think their soul is putting them through this because they want to learn that advanced form of meditation. So the first step that worked for my client was that she was like in the park, just hanging out, and started to notice the love that was all around her, the love that a mother had for her daughter, the love these friends had as they laughed, this man that was feeding his pigeon, and the love for that. And she started to open herself up to love and began to love herself. And she had so many amazing choices that were so much better than that one specific person that she had become obsessed with. That it was opening up to love and the love for yourself that will manifest that specific person better than anything else. All right. All right. Let's see what other questions we have. You are the one with the power. Neville Goddard said it best. You are the one with the power. Goku Haas says, question, Brian. I had to postpone my exam despite studying and imaging, and my friends are married. The solution is to keep imaging, right? It is all part of the bridge. Okay, I'm not quite clear on your question. You had to postpone your exam and that you wanted to imagine that your friends were married. So what was it you were trying to manifest, that your friends were married or that you passed the exam? It depends in particular. You're always imagining. So the secret to anything is to imagine, but that means imagining so deeply that you believe it completely and 100%. It's a vivid imagining. So if you're using for either of those, it should work. Give it some time. There may not be a time limit for something like your friends getting married. It could happen 6 years from now. It will happen in perfect timing when it's an element like that. But I want my friends to marry who they should be married to, who would be perfect for them. So I don't try to matchmake in my imagination. I just try to imagine my friends finding the greatest love that they can possibly find. All right. Thank you, Chris, for your kind words. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Alf Pacino. I would love to hear you sing as well. We need to hear some of that. I want to hear you play the guitar. Alf said, Brian, while you were setting up the new Q&A, I got asked to sing on Christmas Eve at a local venue. Things always happen. Yes, they do. I hope you have a great time with that. That's awesome. I'd love to hear your full story on your journey. One of my favorite things is to help artists and singers to manifest careers and to find success. I love to do that. Kaiser Quest says, I'm going through a horrible separation from my kids. It's been 3 years. I know there's a deep reason why I had to experience this. How can I end this separation in a spiritual manner? So you're going through a horrible separation. It's been 3 years. And so you want to hold your partner in a loving space and find a way for you to let go of this experience so that it doesn't affect your kids if your kids are involved, and not to communicate that the feelings that you have towards your partner through your kids, and just find a place that there's just a better match. And if you find that place, then the antagonism can go away. And I find that if it can be very difficult, because I know that in many situations, in many relationships, it feels like it's not working out and they've done terrible things, or they've lied to you, or they've hurt you. And so it's hard to hold them in that space. Sometimes they have abused you. And so, at a minimum, release the past of that separation so that you don't maintain that frequency in the future. And then your kids sort of get used to that frequency. They should, as soon as you're out of it, try to commit to being out of that frequency and sort of letting yourself forget about it. Hulu 193194 says, question, it's Roberta from the school group. I saw your interview with Rosalind. Who did I interview with Rosalind? I'm not sure it was anybody in school, but I've interviewed quite a few people. I'll have to go back. If you have her last name, you can let me know. Uh, let's see here. Thank you, Ultimate Bokanator, for listening to me on road trips. You listen to the desert in Saudi Arabia. I love the fact that out in the middle of the desert in Saudi Arabia, somebody's listening to me. I've always been the fan of the road trip, and I've always thought that I've created stuff that would be really cool to listen to on road trips, just driving along, hearing some cool music, being activated. I love that. Let's see what other questions. I'm scrolling up. Hulu says, I saw your interview with Rizwan today as a non-gamer, and I never done role playing either. Where should I start so I can rewrite my timeline and jump into the one that's in reach? The first place I want you to start is to put out a list of all your wishes. I want you to imagine that a genie is sitting in front of you, and they will grant you any wish that you want. And I want you to expand what is possible in you. If you could have anything you wanted, I want you to tell me what that is. Start writing it down. And then you start to accumulate. Okay, if I could have anything I wanted, I would live in this kind of a place. I would be doing this kind of a thing. I'd be having these kind of experiences. I would find this kind of love. I would have this kind of healing. And you fully encompass that life. You try to make it a great life, not just individual experiences that you have. But you try to commit to wishes that you can extend over your whole life, where you feel you live the best life that you could ever live, traveling the world, having a magnificent freedom to do whatever you want when you want, finding absolute prosperity, and finding a way to clarify that. Once you have clarity for that, then you begin to sense into that, because it's a real thing. That timeline that you begin to sense into is a very real thing. You can actually sense into it. You can experience it. You can hear the words that are spoken in that timeline. You can see the places that are seen in that timeline. And so spend some moments every day just getting images of it. And then start imagining it. Start experiencing those as vividly as you possibly can. And then start connecting to a version of you that's living that life. And find a way to merge with that version of you, where you can gain their wisdom, their insight, their guidance to lead you along that path. And so I'm trying to give you those techniques with my future self meditation. And what I'm teaching in my events is this set of meditations where you connect to your higher self. You get to see all the possible versions of you. You connect to your future self, and you start to align with this perfect version of you. And it's very exciting. It's very exciting when you start doing that. And that's what we were talking about in that interview with Rizwan. If anybody goes and checks it out, it's really a way for you to understand the concept of the future self and the higher self in forms of a multiversal simulation. Are we experiencing consciousness through what is very similar to a simulation, but a multiversal simulation? So there are different simulations being run at the same time. And there's ways that we can cross thresholds and sense into these other simulations, even going into a version of the simulation where that's carrying you forward, that's guiding you in a path like a program. And so we're starting to understand those aspects of it. That's why I had brought him on to talk about the aspects of simulation theory, because simulation theory is very much confirming our ability to connect into future versions of ourselves and gain knowledge and insight from those versions. When we start to understand this, it becomes a sort of a secondary superpower. And I'm going to start introducing the advanced forms of that teaching here as we go. And that's the infinite self. Once you understand the future self, the true future self is the infinite self that is a gathering of the best selves of all the selves, the healthiest, the most famous, the most successful, the best speaking, the best loving. If we find a version of you in all those realities and merge them together, then you can completely change your life. You become a butterfly, completely breaking out, experiencing the most incredible prosperity, joy, and happiness. That's my dream. That's my goal. That's my purpose, is to try to facilitate that for people that come to my content. So thank you for asking that. Let's see what else we got. What other questions do we got coming? Ada says, Brian, I love Earth and find experience here interesting, but this lifetime I feel a bit claustrophobic on Earth. All is beautiful, but I feel is not enough. Am I just mental? Ada says. So, Ada, it's very possible that you come from a higher level of consciousness, from a different, more expanded planet that has a more advanced, rich, and complex version of consciousness. And you have a big heart. And if you're one of those people that could see the sorrow, the tragedy that's happening in this third dimensional plane, where people from several different planets are trying to move to that level of consciousness that you had been, then some deep loving part of your soul chose to come to this small, limited version of an earth that your inner soul knows you can have and experience so much more. But you chose to limit yourself because of the love that you felt for the people on this planet, and you have a mission. And it's very likely that you're opening yourself up to that. And it can feel, I've had that feeling, it can feel like I'm on this limited, more boring version of Earth, and I can live such a more expansive and incredible life. But we have this time. And so I try not to think about that too much. I try to let go of what could be and open myself to what is in this moment. And in this eternal moment, you will find the joys that you are seeking in those moments. And our goal is to bring that experience that we had in the higher realms into this existence. When you have an awakening to the limitations of this 3D consciousness, you can bring your higher level of consciousness. And so our goal is to transform the planet around us with this inner light that we're bringing. And we chose to limit ourselves to experience this more boring version of existence. I hope that helps. Okay, Gokuha says, question, I meant to say I wanted to pass my exam, but my scores were not good. I postponed. I wanted to be in a relationship, but it has not happened yet. My friends got married, sorry, and passed the exam. I got you. I understand. So the secret to passing your exam, for number one, from my experience going to college for 7 years, is to study. That's the beginning part of the process. But you can spend time imagining yourself being successful in the exam. And when you imagine your success in the exam, you study better. While you're studying, you're already envisioning that you had the success and the excitement of getting that high grade on your exam, which takes you to another level, can carry you through that exam process. Because if we're studying and we think this is hard and it's going to be too difficult and we can't do it, then oftentimes we are not as effective in studying for that exam. But when we're expecting success from our visualizations, where we will be more successful in our exam. And then you said, you wanted to be in a relationship, but it's not happened yet. And so I will tell you that the perfect time for your relationship is coming. And many times I have people say, I haven't had a relationship and it seems like I'm waiting so long. And many, many times when those people have finally found that relationship, the waiting was the best part for them. They had gone through a growth period in getting to know themselves. And it can feel like it's a long time. It can feel lonely and limiting. And you can find yourself questioning yourself, am I good enough to be loved? Do I deserve to be loved? And my answer to you is yes. You're going to be loved beyond measure. And if you just accept that you're just waiting for that perfect divine timing and that somebody's coming soon, they're on their way to you. And if you open yourself up to the love that in general, that's what seems to speed up the process of love coming to you, is just opening up to the love in generic, the love for humankind, the love for the people around you, the love that you see when you smile at someone, when you give somebody a compliment, when somebody needs you because you love them. When you feel those moments and you open up to them, not worrying about what's going to happen for yourself, then you become magnetic to this love and relationships will come to you. So try that out. All right. Let's see what we got here. What other questions do we have? I have it all says, with the programming light activation, can you use it to send the light to your past to revise situations and beliefs? Absolutely. This light is all powerful and you can use it to send it into the past to revise situations. You can use it with your revision meditations, and you can choose how you want to do it. I choose now that I'm responding to those past situations in a version of growth that doesn't cause the trauma. And the light rewrites those inner programming, the way I reacted to it, the teaching that it gave me. Because sometimes those things in the past, we needed to have those, even though we don't think so, because they were so painful, so terrible. I'm not playing down how terrible it might have been, but sometimes we went through that for a reason. Sometimes it's because we can provide healing for others that go through that. And sometimes we can have a better understanding of what happened in those moments, which brings us a greater knowledge of love. All right, what else do we got? Retro Doomsday says, well, first I'll start with Real Kara King says, I always fall asleep with your activation. Does it still work? Yes, anything that I do that you fall asleep to still works. And the difference is in an activation, I'm using a different tone of voice. I will be much more subtle and quiet with different kind of music in a sleep meditation. I am speaking to you in both versions, as you'll see tonight when we do the sleep meditation. That's still designed. And if you're hearing things in sleep meditation, which is why it frightens me when people just go to sleep with the TV running. Nothing bothers me more when I hear that people, I need to hear the TV when I go to sleep and they're listening to infomercials or the news and they wake up frightened and they wake up with a feeling of anxiety. What you're listening to while you sleep can have a profound effect on your deep subconscious mind, and it can be used to change your consciousness. And so an activation can work perfectly. And I have a sleep meditation that is just a gathering of recordings of my activations. So they do work. But if you do the activation in a living state, I'm prompting you to do things that sometimes can be more effective in a waking state. So it depends on your consciousness. It may have result in amazing dreams, but you may have a different experience with that if you do it in the activation. And then there may be benefits to doing it both ways. I know a lot of people, they just listen to whatever I have on that day when they go to sleep. I think that's kind of cool. And so a lot of people, I'm talking to them in their sleep state uh, because you trust me enough, which is such an honor that you trust me enough to talk to you in your sleep state. So thank you for that. Let's see what other questions we have. All Smile says, Brian, today I'm going to manifest $131,969.11 playing bingo in Vegas. I felt the feeling of winning and seeing myself holding the big check. I told myself that I would go play it as long as I saw. Go and play it. And if you have the feeling, let us know how it goes. And know that that's just the beginning, that large sums of money will come to you easily and quickly in increasing quantities from multiple sources, not just the bingo, but from multiple sources on a continuous basis in the best interest of all, that you get to keep, give, spend, and invest joyfully. It's coming to you. It's on its way. However way, and if you feel like you feel a calling to play that bingo or to pull over on the street and buy that lottery ticket, then start listening to the inner callings of that intelligence within you. And as we awaken to this more and more, then we're going to have constantly hundreds of thousands of dollars coming to us in a variety of ways. And bingo could be the beginning of it. So please let us know. I'm excited for your winnings. Ada says, has anyone during activation seen in front of their eyes fast spinning golden circle? I've had that visual. I've had the fast spinning golden circle many times. What else do we have? I love the period of time. All right, let's see. Questions. What questions might we have? Shellbell says, my ex would listen to violent movies in bed while I slept. I would dream that I was in the dream. I'd wake up and could tell you all that happened. It's, yeah, please don't watch horror films while you sleep. Just please. I'm just asking you. I mean, horror films can be fun to watch. I'm a connoisseur of good horror, and it's one of those things. But just do me a favor and let's not turn it on any horror films while you sleep. Let's see what do we got here. What do we got? All right. Well, I'm not seeing too many more questions. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here for you if you have any questions. Francism, I'm scrolling up. Francism asked, are the manifestations for love, health, and money all the same in the sense that it is all about self-love and gratitude at the end of the day? Francis, the manifestations for love, health, and money can be very different in the way that they express themselves. And one of the key elements is self-love and gratitude. but it's also being able to imagine and believe completely in that reality and making it so by accessing your divine power. Mahesh says, please tell the difference between expecting positive outcomes and assuming that we already have it. I mean, when we expect, we are assuming it's not here yet. Isn't that contradictory? Very, very good point. We're constantly in a linear range. And so we must live within the dream having already been fulfilled. And then while we're walking the bridge towards that manifestation, the bridge, what Neville calls the bridge of incidents, while we're walking that bridge with an awareness that we have manifested this thing, then we create a level of expectation. Now, the expectation is important because we don't make it important. We don't try to create it so it's outside of the timeline, but it's what we talk about in transurfing as well. There's a moment when you're creating the script, and there's a moment when you're living out the script. And while you're living out the script, you're expecting because you know it's done and you have that deep inner belief. And while you're in your imaginal script, creating the script, so both can be a valid and both are a part of the manifestation process. All right, what do we got here? Breakthrough Mind says, where do I get my ideas and content for activations and meditations? They're so profound. I'm constantly thinking about them. They're constantly coming to. I'm making notes all the time as I have new ideas that come to me. I treat it just like my art. It's a constant new flow of art. And sometimes what's really amazing, I have shared with many of you, is I will come in to do an episode not knowing what I'm going to do. And something comes through me and starts to tell me this is what we're doing this episode on. And so I trust it completely. I don't know what I'm doing. And sometimes my best episodes are when I don't plan it out. And then sometimes I'm thinking about it for a long time and then it starts to come to me and I'm able to present it that way. And each one manifests a different version of the activation. Real Takering says, I feel high on my own powers and it's overwhelming. Or I have to turn it off completely because I take in too much. How do I connect with my powers and keep it going in a balanced way? It's good to understand that your powers have an effect with balance. As you come into your power, you come into an understanding of balance. Nature always flows with balance, so water always comes to level. And so as you increase your power, you enhance, you bring out the container, and what you want to do is be balanced in what you're creating, the way that you're expressing your emotions. If you express your emotions that something's really important and it has to happen, it creates an expression of power that causes an imbalance with it happening. It feels like a contradiction, but it's something to become aware of with your power. But the way you termed that, open yourself to the idea that you can have as much power as you want, that there is no need for balance, that you can open yourself to a greater amount of power. All right, let's see what else we got. Brian's Ada says, Brian, are we going to have more Arcturian messages? I feel I don't need their counsel anymore, but it soothes and balances more than anything. Yes, I just recorded another one, and as they come out, I'll bring more to you. And I mean, there's always a place for that, and I always want to keep that as a part of the mix so that we're getting intelligence from higher dimensional beings in authentic channelings. Lulu says, I have met many who have very strong psychic gifts, but when discussing manifestation and quantum living, they have seemingly limiting beliefs. What I find really fascinating, some of the most intelligent, spiritual people that I talk to are carrying manifest, very obvious limiting beliefs. And you make a really good point. It's interesting. I will meet somebody that I look up to on YouTube that's a fellow creator that's speaking about spirituality, and I will start talking to them and realize they have super limiting beliefs. And so it's in all walks of life at every level, even for those that present themselves as gurus or masters. Many times they're carrying these limiting beliefs with them. And so you become aware of it all the time. I think we're always constantly battling these limiting beliefs, and it's just part of the human experience. Mahesh says, I have experienced when I'm angry, I tend to attract negative outcomes almost instantly. Can we also use anger for good manifestations? I've seen some people argue that you can use anger in your body through yoga techniques to manifest power, but I think it's a chaotic and dangerous power. And it's probably for higher level manifestors. And I agree with you, in this environment, in this spiritual environment, being angry for even a short period of time can result in your reality showing reflections of this anger through other people and other experiences. We are always walking in a wave of energy that's manifesting what we think more and more. Just like I share with my clients, if you wake up and you have a stub toe, or something unfortunate happens and you shatter your coffee mug, something small, and then this frustration energy goes out, and almost immediately you're experiencing similar things. Your washer and dryer breaks down, your refrigerator breaks down. There's some general energy. So what I want to teach is that we become martial artists with the way we react to things that happen to us. Instead of moving into anger, we try to balance that emotion out or offset it some way. Or if it does express, we try to emote the opposite emotion to kind of neutralize it out. And so I think us becoming masters of our emotional mindset, becoming emotionally intelligent in the way that we express our emotion, is a really important part of manifesting and learning reality creation. Al Pacino, All Smile says, "Do you use hemisyncs in your retreats or any frequencies playing during your retreats?" I use we use the music I'm using on my channel, which is using hemisyncs. All the music on my channel uses hemisyncs. It's also using uh, multiple different various frequencies that I'm utilizing: 369, 528, 639, 963, 423, a variety of different frequencies. I've learned over time how to mix different frequencies in different orders to create different effects in consciousness, something I've been experimenting on and working on for 7 years, with a daily episode, constantly mixing frequencies. Interesting fact: every episode of the Reality Revolution has a different soundtrack. Can you imagine that with 3,000 episodes? If you're talking about using binaural affirmations like I do in my sleep meditations, we didn't do that yet in a retreat. But you got me excited thinking about a possibility of using the hemisync process in a retreat if you're talking about the binaural, and I might do that. Um, Mike, thank you so much for the donation. You said, please give your perspective how diet and fasting can affect out of body or remote viewing experiences. Some people may not consider this. One thing about fasting and diet is it's affecting your consciousness. In particular, it's affecting the way that your body feels. It's affecting the way that you express your emotions. So understanding the role of food in the way it makes you feel is a big part of it. So there's a general feeling that you get when you fast, and it can result in an increase in power because the energy that your body uses to digest can be offset and added to the energy that you're using when you're fasting. And so for some people, they struggle with that hunger and their own willpower, and understanding that going through the fasting process can also give you leverage over your willpower, so that when you have negative thoughts coming in the future regarding your manifestations, it can also offset that because you gain a mental power when you fast to say no to certain hungers, no to certain emotions, and allowing energy to flow. And that's really the power of fasting to me, is the what it teaches the consciousness on an internal basis. It can be achieved without fasting, but that can be an immense aid to it. And then there are certain foods that increase your energy, that make you feel lighter, that can also put you in a state where the wish is fulfilled. All right, what do we got? What other questions? Um, Jada says, "Are the frequency machines safe? I have a small one, but most frequencies are too loud for me to listen." Most frequency machines are safe. When I'm saying frequencies, it's a carrier wave in the sound behind the scenes, so it may not be the same thing. But as far as I know, everyone's different. So I'm not referring, but I believe that they're safe. Um, Colby Barrett says it's important to move those emotions through, but reality doesn't manifest like a mirror. I do believe that reality does manifest like a mirror, but in a much more complicated three-dimensional mirror that has a linear time effect. So you have what you're expressing in your inner world expresses in a three-dimensional moving mirror. That's the way I understand it. All right. Claudius. Hello, Claudia. It's good to see you. I love gay. I love making music. If you can create it with your eyes closed when it's flowing through you, very much so. Um, Connection says, since you mentioned diets, I have a person who insists that we need to stop meat. What are your thoughts? There's one school of thought that says that the eating of meat can limit the chi that you produce that's available to you in the field. And then there's the Neville Goddard school of thought that none of it matters, that you can eat meat, and those are all the limitations that you place upon yourself. As an infinite, all powerful being, what you eat shouldn't matter. And so maybe there's truth in both of that. I think it's part of everybody's journey in understanding that. In my own experience, that it is okay to eat meats, but there are certain meats that I genuinely feel like affect my energy. And so I think that it's everybody's unique soul path that defines the way that meat can affect you. It's not a universal. That's my belief. I might be wrong. All right, what else do we got? Dr. Party says, what's your take on DMT? I'm convinced it's an entity disguised as a substance and we are all creators. Or is there only one because we come from a singularity? It must be the loneliest existence. I'm convinced that DMT is Mother Earth. What you're seeing in the entity and the other little entities that are subsets or fractals of Mother Earth. And then usually a lot of the times in your DMT experience, you'll meet one entity that's like the main player, and that one is Mother Earth. Sometimes the mother is just trying to help you eliminate something. A lot of times the experience is you coming to an understanding of something that's blocking you, or a learning that you have to do to transcend your path. And sometimes it's something else. So that's what I would say, is that you're meeting this all powerful being, and the way they present to you is in form of love to help you in your soul's journey or growth. That's my theory on it. All right. Question, Brian. Better to let go of the script regarding manifesting, and you cannot compare your journey to other people's journey. That is why I guess I was panicking. Goku, don't compare yourself to anybody else on their journey. Don't do that, because that can limit you. Understand that each one of us is experiencing our own bubble of reality, and each one of us are playing essentially a game that's like baseball. We're presented the ball, which is the reality we face, and then we try to swing, and sometimes we hit it perfectly and it goes out of the park, and sometimes we miss. But each day we have a new pitch and a new ball to hit, and we may only hit 30% of the time, but sometimes we can manifest incredible things. And we're learning with each experience and each moment of reality how to face it. And that's my experience of it. So let go of the script. Or when you write the script first and then enter into the script and experience it in that fashion. Just be yourself. Gay, that's good. I like that. Thank you, Shelbel. Appreciate your donation. All right. Well, thank you guys for sticking with me into the second. I really appreciate you doing that. And I hope you opened up to my idea that I did in the first part one. So if people are watching this, you can watch two different parts to this. Part one was the beginning of this live session, and this is the second part. And in that, I explained my experience with my recent event. We're going to start sharing some videos on that and the amazing people in this group. And we did a little meditation on power. So be sure to check that out. I want to thank everybody for joining me. It's so good to see you. Hey, Osmond, good to see you, brother. It's so good to share this space with you. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for always supporting the channel. I will look forward to talking to you later. We have the sleep meditation tonight. That one, you can enter into your millionaire self while you sleep. We got some great episodes coming up that I've recorded, And once again, if you want to get tickets for the event, get a ticket before it sells out. You can get it in the link in the description at www.brianscottlive.com/February 2026. And the links in the description. I hope to see you there because these events are mind shattering, incredible, groundbreaking experiences. And I want to share it with everyone I can. I'm sending you all my love. Thank you so much. And as always, welcome to the Reality Revolution. Thank you.